All right, welcome back to the X-Ring, guys. So today is going to be the unboxing of the prize that I took off the prize table at the Memorial 3-gun match this year in North Carolina. It was the best 3-gun event that I have shot, not only this year, but probably in my lifetime. It was a great event for a great cause. If you guys follow the channel, you guys saw the recap of that event as it went on. But what I took off the prize table was the Leupold Mk4. It is the M5-A. It's a 6.5 to 20 first focal plane scope with a 50mm objective. I had gotten away from Leupold scopes for a long time. I had some issues, and yes, they do have a lifetime warranty. It was great stuff in the past, but I had ended up getting a Mark 8, had some issues with it, with some of the shifts within the reticle when I changed the power. Leupold's really good about getting those things corrected. And, you guys know I shoot a lot of Night Force optics. I also have a lot of the Vortex optics. So when I picked this off the prize table, I wanted to see if anything had changed. And so let's go ahead and unbox this now. First thing I want you to notice is the packaging. They do a great job with the packaging here to make sure that nothing gets damaged. They include a sunshade, some Butler Creek flip-up caps. These are not the Illuma caps, they're just the plastic ones. And then we have the scope itself. Right off the bat, I can tell you it feels like a very robust scope. It does have a 34mm main tube, but it's not really heavy. It's not like a Vortex Razor HD, the 4.5 to 27. It does have some owner's manuals here along with the sticker, and this does have an H27 reticle. We'll get more into the reticle here as we go on, but I'm going to come up a little closer so you guys can actually see. This, of course, is going to be your power ring, 6.5 to 20. You have these large Fisher-Price style knobs with the lockout. So you cannot turn this unless you depress the top button. Then you're able to freely turn this. Very tactile clicks, and it does have a covered windage knob. So that's always good, so you're not having to worry about it getting knocked off or anything else. And on the left side, you do have your parallax adjustment. One of the things you will notice is there's no illumination on this scope, and that's not a deal breaker for me. I do most of my shooting in the daytime, and if there's a nighttime event or something, I do have the Night Forces that do have the illumination with the Digilume, and those work outstandingly well. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this, I'm going to mount it on a rifle. I think you guys had seen that rifle before. The last time you guys saw it, I had just gotten it back. Big thanks to Aerodynamics, Cecil Self. He actually built this rifle initially. And what we had was the Stiller Spectre action on a Bartlett 5R barrel. This does have the Team Area 419 Hellfire muzzle brake as well as the Arca Swiss rail at the bottom. You guys can see the 419 here. I do have the Atlas bipod on it. It is chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. I've went ahead and taken the liberty of installing some Night Force bases on here, or rings rather. These are tightened down to 65 inch-pounds. I am using the torque wrenches from Borka Tools and some fix-it sticks occasionally here and there. Still not on board 100% with the fix-it sticks. They're nice, but I do miss some of the adjustability that I have with the Borka. So that's what we're going to put it on. Let me go ahead and get it mounted, and then what we'll do is we'll just try to bore sight it, get it zeroed on paper. We'll check it out. I'll give you my thoughts and evaluation on the scope itself. All right, guys, so nice clean lines on the scope, not overly large. Want you guys to be able to see the focus knob there on the left, or the parallax adjustment. You've got your elevation knob up top, and then the capped windage. Power ring, same as what you've come to know from Leupold. Alright, so everything seems to be torqued up and level, and what it will do is I will just do a quick bore sight through it at 100 yards. I'll just pull the bolt, eyeball it on a steel out here, and that should get us close enough to get us on paper. I have not shot it yet. I do notice that this also has a pop-up for when you do one full rotation. Because I don't have it zeroed yet, I've got these numbers all out of whack right now, so like I said, I've got to shoot it first, and we'll go from there. We'll be shooting the 147 grain ELD match from Hornady, and let's get this thing on paper. All right, guys, so one of the first things you should do whenever you get a rifle set up was make sure that you check it for fore and aft so that your length of pull is good, so that when you're on maximum power, not minimum power, but maximum power, that it's right where it needs to be. I also have my riser in the correct position so I can't go too low or too high in the black. And then what I need to do is I need to get my reticle focus. Now this is very, very important, okay? Please remember this. With adjustable parallax, what you want to do is go to infinity, and then you want to look up into the sky, but not towards the sun. Look at like clear blue sky. And then what you should do is then just look away and then look in here. If it's fuzzy and not clear, then you're going to need to adjust the rear here. Everyone's eyes are a little bit different. And never just gaze into it, because if you gaze into it, your eye's going to adjust. So to me, that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this locker ring. Once I've got that set, now we're good with our adjustment here. I never try to go off the indicators on the side because everybody's eyes are a little bit different, and you don't want to have it at 100 on 100. Do what is the most clear for you whenever you're shooting. So I've looked through the bore and I've looked through the optic itself. It seems like it's going to be pretty close to be on paper. Let's go ahead. I've already put the sunshade on here. Let's go ahead and put the flip cap on here. Just go ahead and do it upright. And let's go ahead and send some rounds downrange. Big thanks to KB32 for the SWAT comms. I'm going to be evaluating these. Guys, since I have a mic on me, I'll go ahead and talk you through what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm loading the bipod. I'm taking my right hand being relaxed, but I'm pulling into my shoulder slightly. I am going to go for the top left bullseye. And hopefully we hit paper so I can see my adjustment. Here we go. So what I need to do is go down. So what I'm going to do is press on the button here, and I'm going to go down. 1, 2. I'm going to release that. I'm going to remove the cap cover. And on the cap cover, I need to go left. 1, 2, 3. That should do it as far as getting us pretty close to being dead on the money. A lot of spring noise there in that magazine. So let's follow it up. We are going to go to target 2, top right. Windage is good, but we are a little low. So let me come up. Got to press the button. We'll come up 1. That's it. That's in the white. Okay, so now that we've done that, we know that the scope is pretty close to being on. What I want to do is go ahead and reset the turrets to 0 and see if that's difficult or not. 2. And I shouldn't have to loosen this one, but I'm going to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this around to 0. Once I get it around to 0, actually, I don't need this big extension on here while I'm just getting this on. So all I'm doing is finger tight on these Allens. Now I can use something to give me a little bit more torque on this. Nothing crazy, maybe somewhere around 4 inch-pounds or so if I had to estimate. And that should be good there. So we knew we were hitting white. I'm going to press the button. I'm going to go up. You guys see this pop-up indicator here? It's telling me how many revolutions I have. And that right there is exactly where we started. So we'll see, because we went up quite a bit. And we're going to go ahead and adjust the windage knob as well. And on the windage knob, it should be identically the same. So what we're going to do is just loosen that slightly. Loosen this one slightly. I think that's loose enough. And we'll spin this to 0, and we will just tighten it back down. Now guys, you don't want to go overly tight on this, but you also need to make sure that they're tight enough, or when you go to make an adjustment, it's going to start free spinning on you. You won't realize it, and then the rifle's not going to start coming up like it is supposed to, or going over. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, guys, I am a stickler for having everything dead centered. You can see that we're just a hair off. You see that? That zero's not lined up with that. On the windage, we are good to go on that one. That's going to bug me if I don't fix it, but we'll just let you guys see this thing up close in the macro. Let's see how it does at 100. All right, gang, this is something that makes a big deal to me, and that's being able to reset the zero stops or the zeros on the rifle and not have it affect zero. I used to have a Premier, the Heritage, and it was a great scope, but every time you cammed that lock over, it would shift where your 0 point was. And so I actually sold that scope pretty much immediately because I hated that feature on it, because there are a lot of times you're having to re-zero. But let's go ahead and send a round down range, do a 3-shot group. We will go second target down, first target left. Okay, so I do have a little bit of a shift. It's at 1 o'clock, but it is cutting the white. You'll also notice that I'm not going to move my head. I'm going to work the bolt, go back forwards again. Don't lose my spot weld. Oh, horrible group. That's about an inch group right now. And that's dead center pinwheel. So it's definitely at least an MOA group. It might be a little smaller. We'll do one more 3-shot string and see how it does. What I'm going to do is go up 5 mils. I'm going to go back down to 0. I'm going to go down. It lets me go about 6/10 down. Then I'm going to go back to 0. I'm going to do the exact same thing. 3 mils left, 3 mils right, back to 0. And see, at some point there, it kind of lost its left and right because now it's not centered up. I've seen that before with some of these those Leupold scopes where you get it zeroed and then you make an adjustment, and then when it clicks back, it's not exactly where it's at. Might be user error on my part, but it's just something that I noticed with them. All right, so we're going to do one more 3-shot group. We'll call it quits for the day after this one. But all things being equal, these should all be in the white. Wow, that's a pinwheel. Wow, awesome, amazing. Should not have taken my cheek off the stock. About a ½ inch away, still on the white. And it's actually touching that second shot. So it's still sub-MOA, not the greatest groups, especially for this rifle. I do know once I started looking in here, guys, this was a mixed lot of ammo from a match that I had before. You can actually see how tarnished a lot of the rounds are. These aren't hand loads or factory, but I remember I had some mismatched ammunition. So that's probably what's going on. Either way, it's holding about an MOA. Not the best. You can get that out of almost any rifle nowadays, it seems. But as far as the scope seems to be tracking well. Part of it could have to do with that reticle being so thick in the middle, it doesn't have an open dot. So taking a closer look at the reticle, you'll notice the fine 2/10 subtensions, as well as the defined 1 mil markers. Love it in that respect. You'll notice that it's very thick in the center here. It also goes up into the negative area with 2 mils there. I like that they left the 12 o'clock position clear. But all in all, I think it's a great optic. Price point on these, the MSRP is somewhere around $3,000, but I think you can get them a lot cheaper. Went on Gunbroker, Guns International. I think this is a discontinued scope now. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because of the reticle choice, but I've seen them for about $2,200. And there's one that's very similar to this that goes somewhere around the $1,700, $1,600 range. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that review. Like, share, and subscribe. Remember, get in on that free 15,000 subscriber giveaway for the Microtech knife. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great week.